Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. My name is Death by Pony and today we're hopping back into Our Life DLC. So without further ado, let's hop into this. In we go. You repeated the process of getting ready, though with the goal of being ready to face the day rather than conclude it. And you made sure you're dressed appropriately for what you'd be facing. There were long drives ahead. From there, you went into the living room. The perfectly clean counters were a welcome sight after your efforts the night before. Those last moments of previous day had gone by so fast that you fell asleep so immediately it honestly felt like a 10-minute time out had been called rather than several hours passing. But Derek's warm greeting was still welcoming your ears.
Morning.
Morning, it's a brand new day, a fresh start, and we're already set to make the most of it. His resolve from the park had been lost under the light of the new day. Rather, the Derek from the dark moment seemed a lifetime away from the man in front of you now. Morning, today's going to be an adventure, for sure. How'd you sleep? It was another good night. I slept soundly.
Awesome.
His eyes darted towards the tidy kitchen, where plenty of supplies were tucked away. Then his gaze returned to you. For our big day, we gotta have breakfast. Can't be running on empty. Yeah, I'll get something. Derek's meal consisted of scrambled eggs, side of cinnamon steel cut oat cooked in almond milk. You prepared some bacon with simple accompaniments. Plates, bowls, cups, and utensils were set at a table, and the two of you sat yourself down in chairs. You noticed Derek focused on a single part of his food at a time. He didn't start working through his oatmeal until his eggs were entirely gone. Between bites, Derek chatted idly about your plans. Do you have a swimsuit? I know I'm asking this now. The morning we're going, I should have checked ages ago. I was excited. But we can stop by somewhere to get one if you don't. Your preparation game is slipping, Mr. Suarez. However, mine is so razor sharp. I packed a swimsuit. I usually end up needing it at some point when I'm back home, even if I don't always know exactly why. You grew up right next to the ocean. Having swimming gear on hand was second nature. You'd probably bring it even if you were going to the top of a mountain. He snickered. Good point. Let's pack it all up as soon as breakfast is over. We can hit the road right away. Oh, and they have changing rooms there. We won't have to drive all the way there in swimsuits. Just remember to bring it along. His planning instinct came back in full force as he rattled off a list of potential items by counting them off on his fingers. Water, the swimsuit, a towel, change of clothes, sunscreen, cover-ups maybe. You joined in the discussion. Abby listened to his chatter, began to feel nervous now that the time to go had actually arrived. We're joining the discussion. You brought up proper shoes, making sure your phones were as close to fully charged as possible. He nodded along. Everything should be covered with your two forward-thinking brains working together. Derek grew more and more eager as he spoke. He stopped briefly to polish off his oatmeal and down a bottle of sports drink. You followed his lead and made quick work of your breakfast. Both of you cleared off your own dishes. From there, you went straight back to your rooms and gathered new supplies you needed. You had a carry-on size bag as part of your luggage that you could use for the day trip. It had been emptied out already for your stay at Derek's. The first thing you packed was your swimsuit. It was swim trunks and you took shorts, got a hat, towel, sunglasses, and a hat, and goggles, probably shorts to change into afterwards, and the t-shirt to wear, and grab the water bottle is the last piece. It was so great that you get to go swimming. You were going to look fantastic. The thought of going in a crowded park was stressful. The thought of wearing it in front of Derek was stressful. You couldn't wait to see what Derek would be in. That would do. Couldn't wait. Whatever it was would be a sight to behold. A few more bits and bobs were slipped into the pack before you zipped it up. You mentally ran over the contents, going through an imaginary checklist for all the important supplies. When you felt certain you had everything you needed, you slugged the bag over your shoulder and regrouped with Derek in the living room. His gym bag was under his right arm. Derek attempted to give you a thumbs up without letting it slip out. This is gonna be good? Yeah. You left the apartment behind knowing you wouldn't be seeing it again until the day had ended. Once Derek, you and your bags were packed into the car, you pulled out of the lot. Derek and you first big outing, just the two of you had begun. It was a lengthy trip ahead in view, but Derek had it all under control. You used the opportunity to check in with family and friends. With how busy each day in Prism Vista City had been, it was only in moments like this you had a chance to keep up with texts. Lee was on a trip herself, gallivanting around Europe. She had sent you a whole series of photos she'd taken, from food she'd eaten to fashion she'd worn, still looking amazing. Liz shot you back a message to say she was so swamped. She apologized, but she had a little time to chat with little siblings. Knowing Liz was okay comforted you, and so did seeing how queenly attitude still hadn't changed, but it was still a bit sad that the both of you had such separate lives now that you were grown. But once you put your phone down in your lap, Derek was there to avoid any dead air. He chatted boyishly about the water park. He recounted stories of his past excursions there with his family over the years. How one time they almost got kicked out because Nicholas jumped into Derek's back to go down a single-person slide with him instead of waiting to have his own turn. Luckily, no one was hurt and they got off the hook. In the end, it was hard for anyone to stay mad at a kid like that. Then, as if words materialized, a mythic lost city into existence. The massive slides Derek had been describing began to rise up in the skyline. The sparkle in his eyes, Derek spotted them, only added to the legendary effect of what you were beholding. You had arrived. Oh, my back. Oh, stretched. Big stretch. I sit leaning forward most of the time, so my back hurts. I'm gonna just adjust real quick. Get everything nice, comfy, and cozy on this end. Alright. Before you could enter through the hollowed gates, you had to pay a terrible price, $15 for a one-day parking pass, and then $45 each for tickets. It was worth the cost, according to Derek, and the exchange was made. The afternoon was young when you actually made it inside of the water park. Oh my god. It was a dazzling playground with rides curving and looping through the air, taller than the palm trees, lazily fluttering in the breeze. The leaves greeted every guest with a friendly flick of the wand. And the entire place was rimmed by an expansive artificial wave pool that broke off into smaller streams squeezing through the walkways.
All
right. He jogged ahead with all his enthusiasm of a first-time goer before spinning around to face the person who'd actually never been there before. Let's get on our swimsuits, then we can get started. The individual changing rooms and showers are over there. Derek poked a finger off in the left direction of your gaze. Over the head of the strangers rubbernecking, you could make out some simple beige buildings. It was the only part of the place that wasn't immediately eye-catching. Plus, there are lockers you can use to keep your stuff safe. Want to meet up back here when we're done? I can handle that. Be back in a flash. The huddle of two broke and you got in line for the bathrooms. Eventually, you each got your own stalls. The privacy of the small space, you performed a grand, quick changing act for no one but yourself. You weren't about to waste your park time there. Derek and the water were waiting. Though after throwing on a set of clothes, another on, you paused to make sure nothing was left behind. With all of your belongings bundled in your arms, you fumbled the lock open and left the stall in record time. You were charged again to claim a locker during your visit. It was the real amusement park experience. With a shrug, you packed your clothes and phone inside for safekeeping. Then you made your way back to the entrance. Though the crowd of other guests, you continued forward until you spotted Derek standing with his own bare feet at the edge of the pool. Water bubbled over his shoes, then the waves came in. Wow. Very muscular. He was sporting only a form-fitting black swimsuit. Streaking down each side were green accents that made his eyes pop even more than usual.
What's up?
Sup, pal? Those verdant eyes were focused right on your red ones. The fixation was so intent you couldn't help but get the impression that it was a pointed avoidance of looking anywhere else. Like your swimsuit-clad body, for example. All set? Yeah. You're really ripped. Can I say I appreciate your swimsuit? So did you pick the water park to see me in a swimsuit? You hummed quietly. I want to say he looks good in his swimsuit. Definitely. In fact, please do. I appreciate that swimsuit. And with that, all you'd officially made Derek's day. He beamed whiter than a championship winner victory photo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on.
Where should we get started? I don't want to do anything and everything. There's no way to lose. I want to do anything and everything. There's no way to lose. You recollected the main attractions Derek had filled you in on during the ride, with the surety of authority on the topic, even though you never stepped a foot in here before. You told Derek where you'd hoped to start. Trip through the lazy river? No, we're starting on some slides. Hell yeah. You shot a hand towards the twisting yellow one, making it very clear which ride you were intent on going for. Derek had a thumbs up for that. Good choice. The two of you raced across the park and came to an abrupt stop, the long cluster group of people who all had the same idea as you. Amusement park lines at peak summer visiting hours were no joke. You inched forward every minute or so, screams echoed from the top of the stairs, guest after guest hurtling towards the water slide. Distant surf rock played over the speaker as you waited for your turn. You didn't even notice it was there until you'd gotten higher up the steps. Derek entertained himself in you by doing a little dance and playing an air ukulele in time with the tune. You snickered all the way to the launch platform. It was close to the top rather than a half pipe. There was a perfectly round opening for the slide that continued into the deep, dark descent. A low roar came from the swirling water flooding through the massive tube. It was the straw of a giant trying to suck you inside. Your heart pounded. After you. Maybe first, thanks, here I go. I'm a little nervous, can you go? You quietly step ahead. Here I go. The ride technician led you to the lip of the slide, then listed off the safety measures that certainly recited a million times before, and gave you the okay to push off. There was no need to tell you twice. You scooted your butt right into the surge and you were off. You zipped down and around as if you were a gumball in one of those fancy machines that made the treat to go through the lip before arriving a waiting child's hand. But the warm embrace that landed in was an explosion of heated pool water. A massive smile stayed on your face as you surfed. There was no time to get stuck in a daze. A reverberating woo chased after you through the narrow path until once again the water was launched into the air by a dramatic arrival. You and Derek waded through the waist-deep water, catching the breath that had been taken away by the rush. It was a wild ride, but only the beginning. You were certain to hit every one of the half dozen big slides in the place. You kept jumping in line for slides over the rest of the afternoon. With that achieved, you suggested something else. Keep going. For hours, there was nothing in the world but water fun. Derek, even more water. There was no work to be done or places to be. You had to do nothing but whatever you felt like doing. You wrung out every bit of enjoyment until time caught up to your heels. Light started to wane as the sun hid behind towering slides. Dripping wet and thoroughly wrinkled, you and Derek scampered over to the lockers. Turning the knob was no easy feat in your current state, but you needed towels and money. After a long day in the water, you were starving. You ignored the grumbles in your stomach to focus as much as possible on keeping your grip with slippery fingers. Finally, you managed to break open the safe and access the goods inside. You plucked up the towels that had been resting on top of your clothing pile. It was an awe-inspired piece of forethought to make it as accessible as possible. If only you'd considered taking your wallet out of your pocket ahead of time. You'd made good use of the towel until your hands were dry the first time and you weren't even sure how long. Then you started to dig for your money. Derek leaned back on his heels, craning his neck to the pool to look past his locker door to you. Ready to eat? I wish. Why is it so much harder to get stuff out of your pockets when you aren't wearing the pants? Maybe it's a positioning thing. It's an annoying thing. After a final awkward tug, you succeeded in worming the wallet out of its fabric cocoon. There we go. With the flick of your waist, you closed your locker, getting dressed. Could wait a second. Clattering slam followed right after. Derek shut his too. He tossed his neon towel over his shoulder like a shaw, then folded his arms.
Well,
Honestly, the food here isn't bad. For a theme park restaurant, at least, it's worth trying. That's good. A decent meal is exactly what I need right now. You made it like your wallet You made like your wallet and securely wrapped yourself in a towel. It's damp and it dampened instantly, but still very cozy. You made a break for the central area of the pool slide restaurant was set. Your towel rippled in the wind and your feet slapped against the concrete path. You felt free as a bird and all of 13 years old. The water park restaurant had only outdoor seating and a small shack where the food was prepared, but the rich savory scent wafting from the sliding opening on the front of the building convinced you more than enough. Once you and Derek got up to the window, you wasted no time putting your orders, paying, and setting up camp at the closest available table. He leaned fully back against the white plastic chair and chuckled contentedly. It's been a long time since I got to the park. This one or any other one. I'm always busy, right? So busy we barely made it today, but we did. Exactly, we did it. His cheeks and eyes lifted. Pleased, you were more grateful than ever to be there at the water park in this state you grew up in and at the sight of your very good friend. Your meal soon arrived and was finished briskly. Swimming had made you entirely famished. The potential post-food conversation was cut off for you and Derek and every single person in the vicinity. It began with an echoing bell over the entire park, transitioned into a spoken message. The employee announced as cheerfully as possible that the park was closing soon. All guests needed to get out of the pools. Derek glanced up into the sky in a general direction where disembodied voice rang.
I swear.
Man, it went fast. At least it was really nice while it lasted, and we can make tomorrow good too. There was something in his wandering gaze, playfully quirked his lips, and the end of the occasion had skipped all the other stages, grief, and gone straight through to acceptance for Derek. Tomorrow as well. I have a feeling it won't be too hard to have some fun. You watched him with a bit of intrigue, fully expecting it to be let in on what his spirit so high, but merely grinned as your way of explained nothing. Still, the approaching closing of the water park spurred both of you on. It would be irresponsible to dawdle. Your trash was thrown out as you jumped into the shower for a brief wash before changing into your actual clothes, getting back into Derek's car. It was late by the time you parked once more in his designated spot for the apartment complex. What little remained of the night was passing in peaceful relaxation around the apartment before collapsing into bed. Early the next day, you lazily hung around the apartment. Derek was showering after the gym, and you have both already had a quick breakfast. It was true a change of pace to have slow morning, a slow day on your trip. You welcomed the break. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to hit like. That way I know you're enjoying the content I'm making. Remember to hit subscribe. That way YouTube brings you back here to see what happens next, and I won't take up any more of your time. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.